Hello, and welcome to another session of Marc Harvill art painting tutorial video. I appreciate you tuning in. I ask you please to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Marc Harvill Art, and I appreciate all your comments. Speaking of comments, I had a recent comment pertaining to this painting that I did a while back, the Lightning Dragon. And the comment specifically was, could I demonstrate how I painted in the lightning bolt? And that's what I wanted to talk about now. So what I did is I started by just taking a standard canvas and I painted it all in black gesso. And then from that point on, I painted out with a very fine paintbrush, either a rigger or even just a small round sable. Any one of those with a really nice fine head should do the trick just fine to be able to paint out the bolt. And then from that point on, I used an airbrush and I gently laid in some airbrush effects to sort of give that halo effect around the lightning bolt. So it's going to be much easier for me just to demonstrate this. Do you need an airbrush? The answer is no. You can certainly do this without an airbrush. And I will demonstrate as well how to do this without an airbrush, but I'll do both. That way those of you who'd like to see it either way, with or without an airbrush, will have the chance to do that. So without further ado, let's jump into this. Okay, so what we're going to first do, and I apologize for the noise outside, but my family's a little bit loud today. I am using acrylic paint, and I am mixing up an ultramarine blue light. So I'm using Golden Open. This is light ultramarine blue, and so I think this color, which I'm dropping, but this color can certainly be used very nicely to create our lightning effect. You can also simply just use regular ultramarine blue and just mix some white into it. But in order for me to take that color and opaque it, I'm still going to add a little bit of titanium white. All right. And so I'm going to make just a simple bolt of lightning. And we'll just start up here. And of course, you can just have a very unsteady hand. And it's just going to have all sorts of little jagged things like that. Maybe it comes down here. Simple bolt of lightning. And for the purposes, on this side I'll do the airbrushing. On this side I'll do the non-airbrushing. So let's just create another bolt of lightning. And of course you can make the shape of these any way you want. They come in all shapes and sizes in Mother Nature, so there's no wrong way to do this. But we've got just a real basic couple bolts of lightning here. Okay. And that is just going to be our rough outline. Now what I'm going to do, so for this side, let's just work on the airbrushing. And I'm going to take this ultramarine blue, and I'm going to take a little bit of this titanium white. And I'm going to go ahead and shake this up. I'm going to add this to my airbrush. And you want to add proportionally more white than blue. We just really just simply need a pale, kind of a pale white blue color. It's really all I'm looking for. I'm just going to start up here, and I'm just going to follow the contour. And already you get a pretty effective bolt of lightning here. And you can make it as bright or as dim as you want. But in order for this to really show up on camera, I'm just going to go just a little bit brighter on it. Okay, so we've kind of got a bit of a haze over that. Now what I go back and do is I would go back over this again. You're going to have kind of a lighter source kind of coming from the top. So I'm going to come in with pure white, and I'm just going to add this pure white color to this right now. And I'm going to slowly let it kind of fade. And now I'm going to come back to my color. I'm going to add a little bit more of the titanium white. I want to lighten up my pale blue. I just want to get it a little bit brighter. And I'm going to use my dabble board here so I can kind of clean it out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to come back here, and I want this section to be just a little bit brighter with a lighter pale color. All right, and so that's a fairly effective lightning bolt. And that's exactly what I did here on our lightning dragon. Now what I want to do is I want to do the non-airbrush, and what I probably would recommend you do is I recommend you take a filbert brush, and I'm going to go into this same color. I'm going to go into this light pale blue, and I don't want it really wet. I'm going to keep it fairly dry on my brush. Fairly dry. Kind of wipe some out. So I can come back through here now, and then very gently, following the contour that I created, I'm going to start to kind of create, gotta wipe my brush a little better, create a little bit of a haze just by rolling my brush real soft. And I'm going to tell you right now that this is a lot more work to do it this method. But you're really just dry brushing this on really soft, and you're going right over the contours of that bolt that you've already mapped out. just by rolling the brush with very little paint, very dry brush technique. And I'm going to scumble this on. And you want to make sure that that underpainting lightning bolt is really showing through, so you certainly don't need a lot of paint on the brush. And you are hearing my grandson crying. And in case you're wondering, yes, I actually have a grandson. I am a 46-year-old grandfather. All right, so I've kind of done the same thing I did here. I created that nice little haze. You could keep working this for the sake of the video. I don't have a lot of time to do that, but you can keep kind of working on this and adding and kind of making it a little bolder. But the idea is that you're going to dry brush this on very soft and gently. Now up at the top, I'm going to go into some pure white. And I want to get this a little brighter in this area here, just a little brighter. That'll be the origin of the lightning bolt's going to be a little stronger, closer to the origin. So just a little bit brighter here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with my liner brush. I'm going to pick up some of that white. And I'm going to redraw out this bolt. And in certain areas, I can get a little stronger. Maybe the bolt's a little bit stronger here. And maybe here in the corner. So I just kind of jump around, add a little bit of interest. I can do the same right here. And I can do it also on our airbrush side, just to kind of add some interest. So just not really a solid line, but kind of jump around. And in certain sections, the bolt gets just a little bit stronger. And you can keep playing with that. You can continue to add more highlight, more color. You can add to kind of that hazy effect. I use the same technique if I'm painting neon lights, for example. It has a lot of applications that way, but perfect for lightning bolts. But between the two, I really prefer this. I think it's still nicer. It's a little softer. I think it captures a little more realism, and so that's kind of why I really enjoy the airbrush. The traditional method of dry brush blending will certainly be effective and certainly work, and if you take a little more time and not rush like I did, you very much could create some very similar effects if you just have more patience. So anyway, that is how I would go about doing both methods on a lightning bolt. So I'm going to fix the camera here. So I hope that was helpful. I appreciate the comments. I please encourage you to continue to have comments, requests on things you'd like to see me demonstrate. But I appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Give it a try and let me know how it goes. So once again, thanks so much for tuning in and supporting me. If you've not done so already, I remind you one more time to please subscribe. And until next time, we'll come up with something new and exciting to share here in the near future. Thanks again. Bye now.